hello there, wherever you're listening, however you're listening, joining us live on the Reality After Show YouTube channel or after the fact on the archived episode. We love you all the same. My name's Gabe Ortis, joined by producer extraordinaire Bobby Goodsby, Survivor Legend Jonny Fairplay, and we got somebody new in the house today. A very exciting name and face to welcome onto the show, the original Survivor winner, Richard Hatch. Mr. Hatch, how you feeling today?
Hey, I'm above ground. All's good. How come I don't have an at next to my name?
You can do that if you want. You can be at Rich if you want. This is where all the folks follow us on social media. Really excited to have Richard Hatch in the building today. A full circle, if you will, talking about Survivor Season 50. And we have somebody from Survivor Season 1 on here to get into all of it. We're going to be breaking down the last tribe that we have to break down before the premiere in just 6 days' time. Jonny, can you believe it? We're 6 days away from Survivor Season 50.
We have somebody from Survivor Season 1? What the hell does that mean?
I didn't. They didn't even have TV back then. That's the crazy thing. It's
somebody from Survivor Season 1. We have the winner, the originator of Survivor.
I said the first winner. Don't worry, Hatch.
The original winner.
Your resume.
Don't worry.
So no, we are less than a week for the premiere. I'm going to be with Rome and Sage and Rupert and Todd Herzog and Sugar, a bunch of people, and that is just the beginning of my journey, because every week after that, I will be joined by the originator, the godfather of reality television, as I feel it, Richard Hatch. But if you may, for the premiere, I have a special. I do shirts for some of these viewing parties. So for the premiere, I have this. Just picked it up yesterday. First Boot Legends, myself and Sugar. This will be available only in Phoenix, Arizona next Wednesday. So make sure you get your First Boot Legend shirt. But Hatch is like, "Where's my shirt?" I didn't know. I'm like, "Oh, well, of course we have the robbed icons, the two people that should have been first and second phone calls for season 50. Me and Richard Hatch. These will be available every single week. And if you'd like to know really quickly where we're going to be, let me run through as fast as I can. Go to SurvivorTix.com. That's SurvivorTix.com for tickets. In 2 weeks, March 4th, we will be in Newport, Rhode Island. We will be joined by Underground Games. They do the they have remade some of the most amazing challenges in the history of Survivor, and they actually had the challenge producer at one of their events last season. He was like, "You made some of these better than I did." So it's going to be really cool. Underground Games is going to be joining us. We're going to have Bruce from Survivor is going to be there as well. So that's at Newport Craft and Brewing. That's Wednesday, March 4th. The next week, we're going to be in Indianapolis at the Fowling Warehouse. It's me and Hatch. The following week, March 18th, we're going to be in Newport News, Virginia, at Kazi's Comedy Club. Lee Master, Sarge, is going to be joining us from Survivor Vanuatu. He'd like to share some Rudy stories with Hatch. So when all this is happening, I will be going to the bar and letting them chat. Sounded like a wonderful opening. The next week, me and Hatch will be in Richmond, Virginia at Star Hill Beer Hall and Rooftop. That's going to be a really fun one. Survivor RVA is a huge fan group, one of the biggest fan groups in the country. And they are co-promoting that with us. So we're excited to see those guys. The next week, April 8th, it's Hatch's birthday. Yeah. So, of course, we have to be in Baltimore at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. And Gabe is going to be there.
Oh, yeah, hosting the event.
We have Mike Turner's also making the drive down. We have Ty Lowry from Destination X, who you will see with me and Bobby later doing our traders coverage.
Possibly me.
Possibly Bobby. The trip. Working on it. April 22nd, we're in Charlotte, North Carolina at Heist Brewery and Barrel Arts. It's a possibly one of the coolest breweries you've ever been to in your entire life. So that's Charlotte. And then April 29th is Little Miami Brewing Company Event Center. This is a huge space. It is incredible. This is in Cincinnati, Ohio. It'll be me, Hatch, Matt Bischoff's going to be there, Angela Stevens from Ghost Island, Sash Matthew Lanahan's going to be there, Mark Borson from The Floor and the Jungle Gyms podcast, stand-up comedian Wayne Mimit is our MC for the evening. It's going to be amazing. So tickets for all those are at survivortix.com, survivortix.com. VIP is close to selling out on every single one of these. So get your tickets now. Lock it in. It is the greatest birthday present. It's the greatest early Christmas present you can give someone.
Christmas in April. What's better than that?
Go.
So let's get into a little bit of Survivor 50 talk here. And before we get into our final tribe breakdown, I want to ask you, Rich, if you got the offer to go play for season 50, would you have said yes?
So probably, but there would be conditions. Simple ones. I was invited back for Winners at War. I should have been there. I was told I was the only person that all of the people who were making the decisions voted for. So it was a definitive, you're in. And they asked me to drop out of my last course in my PhD program. So I did. And then 2 days before we flew out, they dropped me and Tina. And they never paid for that course that I paid for. So unless they paid for that course,
Retributions, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. It's simple. It's just principle.
Yeah.
They told me to drop out. They told me I was in, and then they changed their minds. So that's 20 grand that either they pay for, which is piss to them. It's nothing. But it's really a big deal to me that they were this rude. But I don't care about them. I care about the game. I do love the game enough to go back and play.
So if those conditions were met, then you would have been happy to be out there and compete again.
Oh, I would have. I was going. I had planned to go.
Yeah.
I should have been a part of Winners at War. They've never explained why they dropped me and Tina. I don't know who went in our place, but the first two winners, the original winner and then the second winner, come on. Winners at War would have been better for that.
It writes itself. And a Vesepia. Why? You've listened to the fandom, like Jeff openly admits, he's like, fans all the time come up. They're just like, why won't you bring back Vesepia? I'm just like, all right, if there's a blueprint in which Vesepia doesn't fit in, how is Winners at War not there?
Right.
And it felt like they had a unique opportunity with season 50 to right some of those wrongs, and they chose to go in a different direction with a lot of those opportunities.
Yeah, that's their line, by the way. They always call people, and they say, they didn't with me, but they often call people and say, we've chosen to go in a different direction. Click, and that's it. They never explain anything.
Well, it's kind of their MO, and you are not the first person that I've heard that same exact story from.
Yeah.
Well, season 40 was originally Rivals, and I was the first phone call. So Jesse called. He's like, "Hey, Fairplay, mind if I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Do you mind if I ask you a question first?" He's like, "I guess." And I'm like, "What took so long?" And he was like, "You're the first phone call. Shut up. Be happy." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm happy."
So getting into our final tribe breakdown here, Bobby, let the people know what tribe we're going to be talking about today.
We're going to be talking about the Cila Tribe. Very excited for this. The Orange Tribe, the final tribe of our cast assessment.
And we're going to kick it off here with Joe Hunter from season 48. He finished third in season 48, a fire captain down in West Sacramento, California. Him and Eva, the first openly autistic survivor to participate on the show, had the dominating, at least if you look at screen time, dominating alliance that ran all the way to the end, and they both end up losing to other fellow 50 contestant Kyle Frazier. So looking at Joe Hunter, I think that this was a casting that raised a lot of eyebrows. I think of all the new era castings that raised a lot of eyebrows, this was probably high up there on what exactly was it about Joe that made production want to bring him back. For me, the storyline here is, how does he compete without an Eva to play with? When you look at a guy like Joe, Johnny, what's the storyline in your head for him?
I'm not. He is the archetype of the character that I hate probably this my second most hated archetype. I hate the nerd, and I hate this ultimate good guy that can't do bad things. I loathe that character. However, I cast that character. Don't get it twisted. I think that character has a place on Survivor, along with the villain that battles this ultimate good guy. So I mean, I was watching Joe, and I'm like, he's Rupert. I'm like, he's in his own head telling us how much they love him, and I'm like, I don't think they love him. And the edit was that they did until we got to the next to last episode. It was like, oh yeah, everyone's kind of tired of their shit. So I was like, oh yeah, we were tired of Rupert's shit too. So he is Rupert. So I will say, as not a fan of the character, not a fan of Joe, I did watch his 48-hour special talking about the murder of his sister. And I found it to be an amazing, compelling piece of television, and a really, really awesome dude. And I like that dude versus what Jeff was feeding me from season 48.
When you look at these hero type characters, Rich, what do you make of them in the modern Survivor lexicon? And if you had anything to add to Jonny, please do.
Yeah, so I don't look at them as characters so much. I try not to put them in categories. I actually don't even pay attention to people or remember their names unless I recognize in them this kind of skillful gameplay and awareness of what it takes to be a winner on the show. So I'm always looking for the skills that unfold over time. So no matter what the character is, like if Joe underneath were being the way he was for some intentional reason, for strategy, etc., I'd be intrigued, I'd be interested, I'd be following him. He wasn't, so I wasn't. But worse than that, Jeff's interference with the game between him and Eva was intolerable to me. Just intolerable. So yeah, what did you ask me?
I think you just about answered it.
Okay.
And I want to ask you a much bigger question as well.
Sure.
That I think most people, rightfully so, ascribe you as the architect of Survivor strategy, right? But long before anybody knew what Survivor was going to be, you had a vision for how this show, how this game could be manipulated to get to the end and achieve the grand prize and the title of Sole Survivor. Over those early years, when you laid out that design, when you laid out that architecture of how you can play Survivor, how does what the game has become today relate to what your vision of what it could be back then? Is it in line with how you thought it would develop?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Yes, it's in line with how I imagined the show would develop, but only because the game requires certain skills, an adaptability, an awareness, a flexibility, a focus that's really intense. And as I've talked to Jonny about many times, a detachment from emotions unless you're using them to some specific end. And if you can't do that, you're not likely to be playing well. I didn't come into the game to play it in a particular way. I came into the game to adapt to whatever was going on so that I could meet my goal. My goal wasn't to win and to find an idol. We didn't have idols then. Yeah. My goal wasn't to eat. My goal wasn't to, be liked. My goal was to have the jury vote me the winner. And that has to be in your mind every single minute of every single day, because all the choices you make kind of feed into that. What's happened in this marketing, I think, from CBS and the rest of them, this shit, old school, new school, it's a freaking game that is one, regardless of whether you played before or whether you've never played, you've got to come into it knowing who you are. Don't try and figure that out after you get on the show, and then be adaptable. So it isn't for me about, there's one way you played then and there's a new way you play. If I came into the game today, I would do the same things I did the first time. Those things would not look to viewers the same. But I would be analyzing, I'd be adapting, I'd be exhausted mentally by the focus on who was affecting who, how. How was she talking to him? What was he? It's just such a constant energy drain, and it's exhausting, but it's exciting. And that's the way I think you win Survivor.
And what I find to be so interesting about that answer is just the overarching theme of adaptability, right? That even if you played in season 1, if you're going to play on season 50, you need to be ready to adapt to what the game is today. And not wondering why it's different than when you played, or not wondering why people are doing new things that you're not used to. Just like on a day-to-day basis, when you wake up on day 2 and whatever happened on day 1, throw it out the window, because you got to be ready to adapt to what's happening right now in front of you. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with on the show.
Well, they do. And what do people say? People say to me all the time, "Oh, you guys had it so much harder. Oh, it's nothing like it. It's so different. Do you think you could even do it now? Because it's different. It's maybe not as hard. They do get food, but it's I'm like, listen, every person that comes out there plays a game that for them is the game of Survivor. It's not something they compare in their head. Oh, it's different from Rich's game, and his is harder or mine's harder. It's hard. It's exhausting. It's stressful. It's emotional internally. All that has to be set aside for the focus of winning and playing hard, playing really, really hard. So it's what you said, Gabe. It's just about adapting. You've got to adapt minute by minute.
Yeah, that adaptability. I love Rich bringing that up, because I have so many people that they're just like, hey, we love you. Hey, we love Hatch. Hey, we love Boston Rob. Hey, we love all these people. And it's just like, do you think Russell Hantz was robbed? And I'm just like, no. I was like, this moron. And for the record, me and Russell, we get along just fine.
Me too.
I don't, I don't pick up those 1 a.m. drunk phone calls anymore. But God bless him and whatever he's doing. But he lacks adaptability more than any other player I've ever seen in my entire life, ever.
Well, I'd say lacked. I don't know if he does now. I think way, way, way too late. But we've talked in recent years, and he seems like he gets it more. For years and years and years, he was spewing that same bullcrap. He was robbed. Blah 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 blah. But I would argue with him. I've argued with him on camera. Like, you don't even know how to play the game. What on earth why would you think you could win? You're not even interested in playing Survivor. You're running around getting idols and couldn't care less how you're affecting other people. How could you possibly think that's Survivor? And he would get mad, and we'd argue. But he seems to get now that whoever the jury votes for deserves to win. It's not about a bitter jury and all this other crap that he used to spew. That's bull crap. It just isn't.
And also the fact, I think his best chance was Survivor Samoa. At that time, he was living in a fucking trailer that had buckets that would collect water from when it rained, because there was and he made up that he was a millionaire right 2 episodes before the finale. I'm sorry, dum-dum. I don't want to give someone $1 million that has $1 million. I never do. I mean, I might find myself in a situation where I'm forced to, because those are my only options. But if you're sitting there beside a doctor and you're claiming to have $1 million, and he didn't at the time, and then there's this young girl who's just like, hey, I'd kind of like to, begin my life and start a family. I'm like, how about the girl that wants to begin her life and start a family that doesn't have $1 million?
Yeah, I don't care either one of them. With the money or not with the money, I would give it to the person that I thought really played the hardest, that really, really bamboozled folk and just was whatever they needed to be to make sure that they got that way and left the jury voting for them. That's who I would vote for.
I typically would too, but if you tell me you have $1 million, I'm like, oh, well, I guess you don't need the $1 million.
I agree with that. And that's just more evidence, Johnny, of what I was saying. He didn't know how to play the game. Whether he does now or not, I don't know. Yeah. But he just didn't. And he was so butthurt by everybody else doing things wrong. Look, you had the opportunity to be on this amazing show. You blew it. Nobody else did.
Twice. Four times.
Four times.
Yeah.
Four times.
Survive.
One last note here on Joe, Bobby. I'm curious from a legacy perspective. Joe got this amazing heroic edit, defender of this girl that grew into being her own hero and somebody who was shown to control the game all the way until the very end. Whether that was what was really happening or not, is in contention. But the edit he got was so marvelous. Does Joe stand to gain anything short of winning by being on not just again, but specifically on season 50?
I think that Joe really comes in thinking, okay, I got to final 3. Now I want to take my game and take it to the next level. I just don't know if Joe can. Is Joe not like the mold of everything Probst loves about a player? Like, it's the emotional, the hero type of player. He is the MO for what Jeff loves. And I just don't think Joe is ever going to be the type that can not play the loyalty card, that can't just go in there and stab someone in the back. I just don't see it. We talked about it earlier in our cash draft. If you guys can, go check that out after you're done watching this, where when we discussed Joe, not a single one of us thought he has a chance of winning this game. Like, he is exactly the mold of someone that can play the loyal game. He's going to get far in the game. He's just likable enough, possibly to the end, and not win. That's just his MO.
Oh, Bobby, he's completely disposable. But more than that, who cares what Jeff Probst like? Jeff Probst knows less about the game than most people who've never seen it. It's a fascinating thing to me. He stands there, host. He's okay. He's a good host. He was a good host before he was on Survivor, but he's clueless somehow about what's really going on, what it takes to play the game, who these people really are. I mean, it's so obvious in the change, the alterations he makes to the game since being executive producer, and the ways in which he infuses himself into it and says all this stuff about don't use Guy and this, that, and in the next episode he starts talking Guy again. It's this whole idea of doing what's not socially acceptable. What's that word? Politically correct. Because it's CBS or whatever. You undermine the game in ways that I can't really even go and describe well enough here. But Survivor created for viewers an opportunity to become more introspective than we usually have ever had an opportunity to do. That's the draw. That's what got viewers in. And what happened was we could watch people on these shows be themselves and then talk about what we liked, didn't like, would we do it, would we not, etc. We don't need a referee, changing the structure of the game and presenting people in a way that he likes. It's hard to prove it, but it undermines what Survivor could be. Survivor's done great and it's doing well, but I can only think about how much powerfully better it would be if it were continued in the way it was intended originally.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think has contributed to that is how much they've changed the days, right? Because the format during 39 days was you would have one day with a reward challenge. You would go do the reward challenge. You'd have an off day, and then you'd have the immunity challenge and then tribal council at night. So every round of the game was 3 days long. And I think that was actually a good, and this is something I've gone back and forth on a lot. How much does it matter? Does it not? But I've been watching an older season recently, and having the same schedule, and B, a 3-day schedule to reestablish, readapt to what's changed since whoever got voted out, and being able to have a couple days to build a new strategy leading up to the whatever the newest vote is going to be, versus now where it's every single day is a new vote. So you only get 10 hours to build up a new alliance, to build up a new plan, to implement a new strategy, and find a new target to vote out. And it just invites so much randomness into the game. And it makes it so not just one or two conversations, one or two sentences heard in the wrong way can dictate the entire vote for that round. And it will then influence the following rounds that come just 1, 2, 3 days afterwards, where before you could hear something kind of funky and you would have time to go fact check it with the people you needed to fact check it with. Or if you're on the other side of that, manipulate that in the way you want to over the course of 2 or 3 days. And now only having like 10, 12 hours between votes, 10, 12 meaningful hours between votes, it invites so much randomness and so many things that you can't account for as a player into who's going home. And you're kind of left sitting there like, I hope this goes the way I think it's going to go, because I don't really have much control over a lot of what's going to dictate whose name is getting written down tonight. And I think that's one of the things that you're alluding to, Rich, of changing the foundational fundamentals of the game. And I think that's one of the things we're seeing nowadays.
Yeah, the shorter version adds more randomness for sure, on top of the randomness that's injected by some of the changes Probst has made as executive producer. But even more than that, it takes away, that shortening of the game takes away what you're referring to, I think, the opportunities for us as viewers to connect to the subtleties that we see in that time period when people are a little more relaxed, when things are happening back at camp. Those kinds of things do get edited in when there's time to edit them in. But in recent years, we've seen more good players and we've gotten some of that. But a few years back, we weren't getting any of it. We were missing who the players were completely, I think.
Yeah. One final thing on Joe. Last week, we talked about Jonathan having a chance. We had Mike Turner on last week, Jonathan's best friend. And Jonathan had a chance to go back, watch his first season. You know, of course, he's a challenge beast. He's a monster. He's all these things. But towards the end, you know, he wasn't great with the women. You know, he was kind of talking down. And anyone that's ever met Jonathan, possibly the nicest human being I've ever met in my entire life, like literally owns 3 T-shirts because he doesn't believe in materialistic things. He spends all of his free time and all of his free money building schools and houses in Honduras. He's just an beyond admirable guy and just like literally one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met in every way, you know. And he had a chance to go back and watch that and be like, wow, like, he goes, I need a lot of protein to make, and he goes, and he personally felt that it was some of the hunger that drove him to be a little short, and those short conversations could be looked at as talking down to people, and especially with the women he was having those conversations with. So he's had time to reflect. He is allegedly looking at doing a self-adjustment to make sure that doesn't happen, to remind himself of that later. He's had extensive conversations with Boston Rob. Boston Rob gave him a to-go letter for all the things to remind himself, where rumor and innuendo, someone that talked to Joe is just like, I thought I played a great fucking game on 48. I don't know what the problem is. And I'm like, well, if you think that, then you got a problem. Because there's your problem. You don't know your problem.
Bobby,
well, I'm glad he talked to Rob, because, you know, somebody that took 6 times to win, that's where you should get good advice.
One of the 49ers that will be on season 50, Savannah, who will, as we see her on 50, will be just 2 weeks removed from her first showing on Survivor on 49. Her and Rizzo, who is going to be on the Vatu tribe, went out, played 49. Savannah was the winner of 49. Rizzo made it and lost in the fire-making challenge at the very end. They both went back to the United States for 2 weeks and flew right back to Fiji for season 50. Are there any unique advantages or disadvantages that come with being in that spot, Rich, of having no one senior season that you're playing with and playing that quickly back-to-back?
Well, obviously there are. Not knowing that, you know, who she was and what her kind of personality is, but she's got skills. She plays well, I think. I don't know that there aren't going to be, well, I think there are players who will recognize she's a threat. I don't think she was as effective as she might need to be for 50, but she's played once, and even though there's not a lot of time in between, she may have time to, really buckle up and know what it takes now to be even better than she was the first time.
Yeah, I see Savannah, Johnny, as kind of in a similar spot as Joe. Does she have much to gain from being on season 50, short of winning, when we're talking about legacy? Like, it's kind of the same question for Joe. She went out in 49. She played very well in 49. She played so good that she won 49. When she goes out on 50, if she just kind of sputters out pre-merge or doesn't make much of an impact, like, how much does she have to gain from her legacy unless she's a two-time winner?
Not just a paycheck. So no, if I'm casting season 50 and either Parvati's not available or you want to do new Parvati, I'm casting new Parvati on season 50. I mean, she has a look. She's if you're doing 3 winners, she's one of the winners of the new era. I would choose. If I'm Rizzo, I'm throwing her under the bus. It was like she won because, I know with on Micronesia, we hadn't seen the last few episodes of Survivor China. I had read on the Survivor Sucks message board what happened, but I didn't know for sure. And so production was just like, hey, here's the deal. James and Amanda, they were on Survivor China. You are not allowed to ask them how they finished. So just know that, and play the game not knowing. And I go, great. I am just going to take it under assumption that they both won, and let's just get rid of them first. And Amanda goes, I was final 3 and didn't win. And James goes, I went home with 2 idols. And like, what are you guys doing? They're like, fuck you, dude. Fairplay's already said he's starting a mutiny to get rid of us. We are telling people how we did. So if I don't know what the rule is, but if I'm Rizzo, I'm just like, she won.
I think as well, if you're in the spot that either of them are in, it's kind of this race to throw each other under the bus, right? Yeah. Like if you're playing with them and you see them link up together and start working together, or even just being friendly together, that's as big of a red flag as you could possibly throw out there. Bobby, when you look at Savannah on this tribe makeup, I look at everyone else on this tribe and we're going to break all them down. I see her as one of the more abrasive people. I think she's more willing to speak her mind than a lot of these folks. I think she's somebody who comes off as a very aggressive player compared to some of these other people. Can she play the way that she played in 49 because nobody saw her play on this season 50 cast, or does she still need to make adjustments?
Well, 100%. I think no matter what you do, you adjust to the people around you. Having said that, she's playing with house money, right? Like, she is already a millionaire. She already knows it by the time she's going out there to 50. Now, a lot of people in the preseason press were already kind of pinning her as the winner of 49. They knew there was 2 other winners there. There has to be one winner from these 2 49 people, and they were able to assess that it was most likely her. I think that when she goes in there, she said it herself that she's going to just be honest with people and tell them, yeah, I won. Like, there's already this target on her back as a winner, as someone that they don't know. And for her, it's all about adapting, excuse me, adapting with the people that you're playing with, adapting to this new game, because this game's going to be different. We've already seen the million celebrities they're bringing in and these different idols and what have you. At that point, it's all things from 49 are out the window. And if anything, just play the game. You're already playing with house money. You have nothing to lose. Just go out there, have fun, and try to build your legacy is all you need to do.
Bobby, next slide.
All right, next slide.
Our first person who is not a new era member, Christian Hubicki from David versus Goliath. This Floridian, originally a Marylander, actually, like myself, is going to be going out for what I think a lot of people have been begging to see Christian Hubicki back on Survivor. How is this his first time getting called back since he played on David versus Goliath season 37? Now, he had a great run on David versus Goliath, ended up finishing 7th, I believe, around there, 6th or 7th. And he was somebody who brought a strategic narration to the show that I think was very refreshing for the time that the show was in. I think it was something that people were excited to see, a nerd that was fun to watch again. Probably the first fun nerd since John Cochran and, of course, Jonny Fairplay. So from a strategic sense, Rich, I look at somebody like Christian. I think that he is going to be pegged as this big brain strategist and all this and that. If you were to go out, and I think somebody like you, if you were to go play again, would be pegged pretty early on by other players as a big brain strategist. Is there any value, or rather, how valuable is it to dumb yourself down for the people you're playing with if you have that kind of label on you coming into the game? Would you, as somebody who would be labeled as a big strategist, try to dumb yourself down? Or would you just do, pedal to the metal until the brakes fall off or until you win your second $1 million?
It's somewhere in between there. So no, I wouldn't dumb myself down. And it's not about pedal to the metal. For me, you talked about, who was the last one you had up?
Savannah.
I was going to say Stephanie. You talked about Savannah being a little bit of an irritant sometimes to people. There's a balance between being really likable and being somewhat irritable and irritating. And it doesn't hurt to be kind of, I was called arrogant and cocky, and it humanizes you a little bit. So it gives other players the opportunity to not think of you as too much of a threat. But also you don't want to be hated for being those awful things either. So it's somewhere in between. I think Christian's got the likability factor in the bag. He's nerdy and likable and can play well. I think he's just got to focus and do his thing, and it could take him far.
You said you hate the nerd archetype character, Johnny. How does Christian fall on that spectrum for you?
He nails it. Of the nerds, he is my favorite of the nerds. Do I like him? He's peculiar, and I think peculiar in a great there's something special about Christian.
Comfortably peculiar and heartwarmingly peculiar. He's relatable that way.
Yeah, well, I don't find that in Cochran. Personally.
No. So that's what I was going to say, that I think Cochran was like this off-putting nerd. He's like the nerd that okay, you can see he's a nerd, and that's already off-putting in its own right. And then if you go up and you try to be nice to him, he kind of puts you down. And it's like, all right, well, I tried and you were kind of an asshole to me, so I'm done with you. Where Christian is the kind of guy who it's like, you can see he's a nerd, and then when you talk to him, you're like, oh, this is a pleasant surprise. I kind of want to invite you to my party this weekend. I didn't know you're actually kind of cool. He called himself the comptroller of Slamtown, to the mayor of Slamtown, which was another contestant on his season. So I agree, Johnny, that he is peculiar and curious and fun. He's a fun kind of nerd.
Yeah, like with Cochran, to anyone that'll listen, will explain to you how much of a genius he is. And I'm like, all right, well, fucking genius. Why don't you get a base tan? You know you're a fucking ginger. You know you have pasty white skin. You're not gonna get a base tan before you go to a fucking island for 39 days. Then you're obviously not a genius. You're a fucking idiot. So that's what I don't like. But no, I think there's a likability. I will say this. I went to for David vs. Goliath, I had a viewing party in Durham, North Carolina, and Dr. Allison came with her mom. And that's the episode. She won immunity and was crying. She was like, oh my God, I can't wait till my mom sees this. And in the crowd is Dr. Allison sitting beside her mom, and the entire room is crying. It was actually like one of my favorite viewing parties ever. I mean, because literally not a dry eye. It was so cool. And then Dr. Allison invited me to her viewing party in UNC, where Christian is voted out, and probably the only viewing party in the world in which people were cheering at the end of that episode, because most people were not, but me and Dr. Allison were definitely high-fiving. So.
Wow. Bobby, when you look at Christian on season 50, this is one of the most highly anticipated people to be on the season, I think. Is that pressure something that you think is going to affect his game? I mean, when you look at all of his preseason press he's been doing, what's the vibe you get from Christian going into this?
Yeah, I think Well, first off, Christian is, when I heard that they were doing 50 and it was going to do a returnees, like Christian's one of the top people on that list, right? You knew Christian was going to be asked back. It had been enough time between his season and now. We haven't seen him back. He's a huge fan favorite. I mean, so much of a fan favorite. I mean, he was like, in his era, during his time, he was the Rupert of his time, right? Like where Rupert won $1 million from a fan vote. I guarantee you, if they did a fan vote at the end of David versus Goliath, Christian's walking away a millionaire. So I know that there was a lot of hype for him to be there. I think he might have a little bit of that pressure on his back now, knowing that he does have a fan base that's excited to see him play again, where the first time he played, he just went in as Christian. He just went in, tried to adapt, played well, had his alliances, and got pretty far in the game. But now I wonder, does he have this little thing in the back of his head knowing there's a lot of people excited to see me? I have to play well now. I have to try to get to the end and win this. I hope not. I hope he just plays as Christian, because I think, like you guys all have said, he can adapt to people. He knows how to get along with just about anybody, and he's just such a likable person to be around that no one's going to be wanting to get rid of Christian early, especially for his strengths and puzzles, which in today's day and age, it all comes down at the end what happens in those puzzles, and we know he's the guy who can ace those in a second. If I have Christian on my tribe, I'm happy to see him. I'm wanting to take him as far as I can, because I know he's always going to be an essential person and a loyal person till the end. Having said that, I don't know how he'll do. I'm hopeful for him, but I just hope he doesn't have that in his back of his head, being like, I have to do this for the fans.
Is there an added target to his back that he is one of 3 people from his David versus Goliath season? Bob?
I mean, absolutely. I think you've got to look at all of these members of each of these tribes that has multiple people, 3 or more, or I guess 2 or 3 people from a specific season, and know, hey, okay, that's an essential threat. But when you look at his season, you've got Mike White, who people might want to get out early because either A, they want to keep him because they want to get a cameo on White Lotus, or B, they want to be like, no one's ever going to go after Mike White, so we got to get rid of him early because he's going to just float to the end because people want to save him around to be on the White Lotus.
After him. Hatch, are you going after Mike White if you're out there?
For that cameo.
I've never seen White Lotus, so I have zero desire to be an emoji
Johnny. So good.
Yeah.
So good. I mean,
I just watch shitty reality TV, Hatch. That's all I watch.
It's just good.
It explains so much about you, Johnny, that all you indulge in is reality TV. It explains truly so much.
But look, you were talking about Christian and anybody, that they have a target. My take is that every single person has a target for something. Even if you're targeted because people don't think you're going to have a target, you're targeted. Everybody has some aspects that they could be targeted for, and that's something the powerful, effective player is going to be, cataloging.
That's a good point. That there's so much weight to being casted on this season that nobody hears a throwaway. Like, at least in the eyes of production, nobody hears a throwaway. Everybody's coming in with some kind of baggage that they're gonna have to manage when they're out there. And it's kind of like, okay, well, your baggage is more than mine. That's in the eye of the beholder, I feel like, where it's not like it's a cast of new people, where there are some people who are just cannon fodder, who are not threats. And this is not one of those instances.
And the truth is, those targets shift with the dynamics of the game.
Yeah, every single day.
Hour by hour. Yeah.
Every day you wake up, those targets shift.
You don't know, like I would imagine there were conversations going into sorry, Sage, there was probably pregame alliances, but I guarantee there were conversations, but those conversations mean nothing until you get I literally for Micronesia, I flew to Los Angeles, had a meeting with my manager, Pinner, and Yowman to secure this pregame alliance. And I'm like, okay, this is locked in. This is official. This is real. We're great. These are 3 people that play logic-based, not emotion-based. Great. And then as soon as I get out there, I'm talking to Yowman by the fire. I'm like, hey, Yowman, what do you do for fun? He goes, no. We're not doing that. And I'm like, we're not doing what? He goes, this is work. This isn't, we're not having conversations like that. I'm not going to talk to you. We're just working together, and that's it. And I was like, wow, like this is a pretty shitty fucking alliance. I mean, like, you can't, you don't have 5 minutes to talk about a fucking hobby. And I'm just like, all right, well, this sucks. So then Pinner's like, hey, Fairplay, let's go talk real quick in the woods. So I go up with Pinner, and he goes, hey, what do you think? And he's like, it doesn't matter. I call all the shots. You're doing exactly what the fuck I say, and that's the way we're playing this game. And I'm like, wow, I stand corrected. This is the worst alliance I've ever been in.
So you're
and I flew to Los Angeles to meet these assholes.
Wow. Unbelievable. Bobby, next
and
slide.
Plus, some people snore. That I don't like people. I've become a snorer. I didn't used to be. So I'm just like, oh, like some people fart in their sleep. I'll vote you out if you fart in your sleep.
I think that's a worthy cause. I think you're doing that for the good of the people. That's not even about you. You know.
I just sleep on the beach. Let them all fart on each other.
Yeah, right. Hey, I was the same way, Hatch. I slept on the beach as often as I could. It was very soothing, actually, quite comfortable. Looking at probably the biggest name to be cast on this season, on a season with quite a few big names. This is the 4-time player. This is the best to never win. This is Cirie Fields coming back for her 5th run at this game. First off, 5 is a lot of times to play. 6. What's
the world count? Sorry, Jeremy Collins.
Come on. I'm Team Jeremy on that.
Me
too. I'm looking at Cirie. I think she's obviously going to be coming in with this huge target on her back. I think she's going to be somebody that a lot of people are going to want to work with for the novelty of working with Cirie Fields. I think there are a lot of people who are going to want to target her for the novelty of taking down Cirie Fields. I think she finds herself in this position where it's all going to kind of be which way is the wind blowing this morning. I'm curious, Bobby, I'll start with you on this one. What strengths does Cirie have as a player that are going to benefit her the most in a season 50 type setting?
Well, 100%. One, social skills. Her social skills are probably the best the game has ever seen. The way she can adapt to anyone and build a rapport with people where people know she's a threat. They know they should get her out early. And majority of the time, she gets to the end because she knows how to talk to people and how to interact with people and make people feel comfortable. Secondly, a lot of these people in the cast, especially, the older era people, she has lasting friendships over many, many years with these people. So that is a great benefit to her, opposed to some of these new era people that, yes, they may know each other, but they might not know other people on the new era, or they might not know the old school. Cirie is coming from a place where she's had the TV experience, she has the social skills, and she has the pre-existing relationships with people where she can excel. Now, having said that, Cirie is up there as one of the people that has the biggest target on their back, period, just because they're Cirie Fields. Anyone sits next to Cirie Fields, they're gonna lose. Like, if you really think about it, how many people did we hear in the preseason press from the new era, especially, say, I love Cirie, I want to work with Cirie, where I don't even care if I lose the game as long as Cirie wins. Like, you just hear this from people time in and time out that just want to see Cirie finally get her crown. That I'm like, all she has to do is be herself and she'll get far in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I look at somebody like Cirie, and I think that she is the perfect person to align with because she'll never win. Cirie is somebody, I think it's physically impossible, unless everybody colludes to bring her to the end and win. I don't think it's possible for her to win, because her story is too good. Cirie sitting at the end and winning, that it's too good of a story.
Gabe, you're missing how stupid people are.
Well, the ultimate X factor.
Yeah, I mean, Cirie could win. Cirie, it's not impossible for Cirie to win. Cirie has a target on her back because she has the skills that to get her through. And there are so many targets that you have to make decisions about who you're going to work with. And Cirie is someone people would want to work. I'd want to work with her. You should want to work with people who can play the game. And you can't control every single aspect of everything. So you've got to make decisions as the game gets closer to the end about who to get rid of and how and when. And, you could screw it up and Cirie could get through. I never say never when it comes to a good player, a competent player, and whether or not they could win.
Jonny, are you aligning with Suri, or are you targeting Suri if you're on season 50?
I'm helping Suri win.
Wow. So you are one of the dumb people that Hatch is referring to.
I love her.
Yeah.
I mean, she.
I love her too. I'm not helping her win.
I would love a scenario when it's open to both of us, but if something happens where, you know, whatever, yeah, I'm team. I love Suri. She's one of my favorite survivors ever. She's one of my best friends that I've ever met in this incredible 22-year voyage that I've personally been on. She's whatever you think you love about Suri watching on television, it's a million times more impressive in real life. She is literally.
Gretchen was one of those on the first season. Cut their throat. You know, at some point, you just got to cut their throat, Jonny. I'm not helping them win because they're nice people. Jesus, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
I love an idea of me playing a returnee season with enough friends, but more than enough enemies, because I relish in sending home motherfuckers and destroying their dreams. It's my favorite hobby of any fucking hobby. I love that. However, I am not what Boston Rob does to Lex. I can't do that, because like if there's a situation, it's just like, you know, me and Suri have a conversation as every man for themselves, blah, 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 blah. All is fair in love and war, but I'm not going to fuck you because if you're my friend. I do not have that in my weaponry.
See, Gabe, right there's a proof in the pudding. One of the biggest villains in Survivor history said he would give up his game for Suri. Like, that's just Suri's aura. Like, even not just new people, not new era. It's even the biggest villains who ever played Survivor are willing to give up their game. Like, that's just what she gives.
Hatch would do that for me. Don't.
Exactly. Everybody else, I'll slit their throat, but not you, John.
Thank you.
Actually, you know, there's something to say about what you're saying. I play that way too. I don't know if people probably, you know, gag when they hear me say this, but I played the game as honestly as you possibly could in that first season. And I would continue to do that. And if I make alliances and make bonds, they're meaningful. In the All-Star version, I told Colby and I told Kathy that if you get rid of me, you're next and you're right after that. I mean, here's why. Blah, blah. I explained it to them and they voted me out and they went boom, boom, right? Yeah. So, you know, I would maintain those alliances like you're talking about, Jonny, and treat people the way I feel about them as honestly as is possible. That's another big part of this game. You can't just be perceived as somebody so shallow that none of it matters. It all does matter, but it's also within a game. And so if it comes to the point where you are slitting somebody's throat, they've got to understand that later. People that take it outside the game are just idiots. You know?
I agree with that.
Okay, the Lex Rob thing. Where do you weigh it? Because, like, for those that don't know, Rob and Lex were best friends. They were flying across the country, hanging out, all the things, living on each other. Rob was living on Lex's couch. They were as BFF as it gets. Rob goes to Lex. He's like, "Hey, I need you to save Amber." Blah blah blah. Lex goes, "It kind of fucks up my game." He's like, "Look, this is outside the context of the game. This is bros. This is best friends. Will you do this?" He goes, "You know what? As your bro, as your best friend, I got you." Fast forward, tribe swap, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Lex is like, "Hey, remember when I fucked up all my shit to help you?" He's like, "Yeah, sorry, game bro." That's kind of shitty.
But it's not outside the context of the game.
Exactly. That's where I'm going to. Yes, it's kind of shitty of Rob to do it that way to Lex when he didn't need to, but it's also stupid of Lex to believe that Rob wouldn't if he needed to. Lex should have said, "I will if I can," and, you know, do what he's doing, but not. I mean, the idea that Lex could have believed that Rob, of all people, especially knowing him, you know, wouldn't play hard is the issue. Not that Rob played hard. I get it that you shouldn't, that closeness outside the game, etc. But both of you coming into it know damn well that friendship is a friendship. You've got to go as far as you can. Only one can win. Do this for Amber, however he says it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
No, who gives a shit about Amber? If it were, if it were, I needed to do something to save Rob, and it weren't going to affect my game. Hell yes. But if I'm going to do something for Amber that's going to affect my game because Rob kind of likes Amber, oh God.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And I remember going back the last time I watched that season. It was before I went on. It was before I was even in casting. And I was watching this season like, okay, Rob played a great, some may even say innovative game on All Stars, but so many people were working to get Rob to the end alongside Amber. I remember during that vote when they're talking about like, we can just vote out Amber. This is an easy vote. We can get her out. And everyone's meandering around on the beach going, Rob is going to be so mad if we do this. Oh, he's going to be so mad. And the whole time I'm sitting here watching this for the first time as an adult going, who the fuck cares if he's mad?
Exactly.
Why does it matter? What does that have to do with the game if Rob is mad? What happens to you? What is he gonna hit you in the face? Like, well, what do you think's gonna happen if you vote out Amber and Rob is mad? And everyone's sitting there going, you know what, we shouldn't do it for Rob. We shouldn't do this. It's like
that's that brash pushing leverage that Rob relies on, which is why he didn't win for 6 games. I mean, I love Lex. He is a beautiful human being.
Agreed.
I kept him warm in All Stars. His wife thanked me for keeping him warm. He's a really, really wonderful guy. I really, really love him. But that was really stupid of him to play for Rob. It's got it. You play with Rob. I love that. I will play with an alliance member hard, but I'm not going to play for him. I'm not going to. I'm just not. It's. I'm in the game to get to the end, and if it's going to undermine my game, as Lex really knew and talked about openly, I'm not going to do it. And that's Lex's mistake. I get the sadness of him having to face it that way in the game and learn that way about Rob, but
it is the game.
It is the game.
Here at our next member of the Cila Tribe, the original Jungle Boy, who will be co-hosting a watch party here in Baltimore for the premiere. Me and Ozzy are going to be at Power Plant Live right here in Baltimore, hosting a Bryce and Wen Presents watch party. So make sure to get your tickets over on the Bryce and Wen Instagram page. The link is in their bio. They are selling out very fast. Early bird is already gone. There's still some general admission and some VIP left, but they are going quickly. We only got 6 days, so be sure you go get your tickets over at Bryce and Wen Presents. Me and Ozzy hosting with some other surprise guests that we're not allowed to talk about quite yet. But looking at him in the context, not of my watch party happening in a few days, but on season 50.
Are we gonna have surprise guests at April 8th for Hatch's birthday?
I can't talk about it. We'll discuss. Oh,
Hatch, you got surprise guests for your birthday.
So looking at Ozzy, I find him to be a fascinating casting. Actually, I think a lot of people were like, well, we don't need to see Ozzy play again. I actually think he's one of the people that has the most to gain by being out here. I think that he has the unique opportunity to bring a new level of social strategy that we have not seen him do. Ozzy's a grown man. I mean, you can see in the hairline, Ozzy's getting older. And I think that he can present for the first time, have the opportunity to present this older, wiser, more experienced version of himself that has played this game 4 times, that does learn from his mistakes. And I think he doesn't need to win to actually add a lot to his legacy going into this game. What kind of dynamic, Rich, would Ozzy be adding to the legacy that he has if he came in and showed some savviness, showed a little bit of Richard Hatch in his game? What do you think that would mean?
Big if, Gabe. That's the big if. I mean, he hadn't been able to because look, I love Ozzy. He's a really good guy. He's a little Russell-y when it comes to the game. He's focused on the physical. He's focused on the challenges. He's focused outside of that subtle mix that's necessary to get all the way to the end. I hear you. He's older. He's more mature. He's bi now. Ooh, that's hot.
He's tri. He's trisexual.
He's tri. What's the third?
He tries all the sex.
Oh yeah, trisexual. I just love that, and I love how he's comfortable naked. It's just it's awesome. But if he can get outside of that competitive, youthful mind that he had, where he's just so driven to win everything, his focus is off the game. I only won one challenge. Winning challenges isn't the end all to winning the game.
Nope.
It puts a target on your back when you're somebody who's physically like Ozzy, who appears as if he's physically capable, and he is physically capable. Those two things are bad in the game of Survivor, but physically capable people don't seem to recognize that for some reason. So hopefully he'll figure that out. I mean, win for your folks, be a contributor, come along, help people. But if you stand out so much that you look as if you can't be beat, and you act as if you intend not to be beaten, you're just screwing yourself.
What do you make of that assessment there, Johnny, of these challenge beasts that come in and they can't seem to break out of that mold? Like, what do you think that is psychologically?
Well, I think psychologically, Jonathan's going to whoop his ass. He's going to be like, all right, are we good? I'm no longer a challenge beast. Is everybody happy? Great. Keep me around. So, no, I've heard in interviews he said that instead of providing and fishing for 10 hours a day, he's just like, maybe I need to stay at camp and just talk to people. So I think that it would be beneficial to Ozzy.
It's a balance, Johnny. But when you think about somebody else beating him, those bigger, bulkier, physical guys that can stomp on the rest of us, they can't hang or keep their feet on a ledge or whatever. Yeah. Ozzy is the physical. You are the physical types that are the threats.
Win those Parvati challenges is what they're kind of known, which they used to be called Ozzy challenges.
Those cross-country skier type guys, those cross-country swimmer type guys, they're the ones who always. It's never the football players.
Yeah,
it's never the MLB player. It's always, I was a track star in college. Those kinds of guys are the ones who dominate because they're lanky. They're not too big. They have endurance. Like Ozzy as a swimmer is the ideal. Jonathan as a swimmer is the ideal Survivor challenge.
Oh, that body mass on those. So like the first half of the game, the tribe challenges, a Jonathan can propel your tribe to the merge. No problem.
Yeah.
Once you get there, the individual challenges are either fucking carnival games or endurance. And as mighty as Jonathan is, Ozzy's got him beat on endurance.
Yeah, I agree.
So no, I love Ozzy. Ozzy's so fun. Like Micronesia, we flew from LA to Hawaii to Manila to Guam, and then we played in Palau, and we got to Micronesia, and they were like, okay, nobody talk, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, hey, we're all adults. We all know each other. As long as we promise not to talk game, can we just fucking be treated like human beings and talk? And they're like, all right, until the brass gets here, like you guys got like 3 days you can fucking so Ozzy's just like, hey, do you want to get high? And I'm like, yes. And he goes, I brought an ounce of weed with me. And I'm like, an ounce of weed? He's like, yeah, they were rushing us through TSA everywhere. I just brought an ounce of weed. They're not checking us. And so he got an apple and we smoked weed. And I was just like, Ozzy, you were going to be my first vote. I was like, you bought yourself 6 days. And the crazy thing was, they pulled me when it was time for press day. They're trying to find different locations to interview us for press day, and they took me to the tree where Ozzy had his apple hidden with the hole in it. And they're like, "This is perfect." I'm like, "This is horrible. I don't want to do it here."
Bobby, when you look at somebody like Ozzy, assuming that he's sober and not high off apple weed, going into this game, especially for season 50, what do you as a fan need to see from Ozzy to make this casting worth it?
I mean, I think just having Ozzy for this Hallmark season, like Ozzy is one of the names you would bring back for 50. Now, this might be his swan song, who's to say? However, saying that, do we know he will be the challenge threat that he has been in the past? He's 43 years old. Not saying that's a slouch or anything. He's still a young guy when it comes to, the grand scheme of things. But you have a lot of younger people there that are in their 20s, early 30s. Like, how does he compare to those people physically? I'm not saying he can't, but that's always been his go-to, is I can rely on the fact that I know I'm a physical beast. Now that he's in his 40s, is he going to be able to keep up the same? However, saying that, in his preseason press, he's talked about, I don't want to play as Ozzy anymore. I want to play as Oscar this time around. I want to go in and let my social strategy really show itself in a way that I've never done before. And it's been such a big gap in time between when we saw him last play to now that he has grown. I think he's understood now that obviously there's a reason he didn't win in the past. He's come many times very close, but there's always been some kind of hiccup in his game, and he's able to assess now that it has been his social ties to people. And I think that this Ozzy, who is also saying, I want to work with Suri going into this game. Like, Suri is someone I can see myself working with, and they end up on the same tribe. I think he's in a great spot. I don't think he has the physical target like he used to. It's still going to be there. It's always going to be there with Ozzy, but I don't think it's as bold as it's been in the past. I think he could do well.
Bobby, next line.
I don't think Ozzy has the weaponry that like myself or a Hatch has in the arsenal. It's no like, I love Ozzy. I think Ozzy is a beautiful person inside, just incredible. But there's that extra thing that me and Hatch, like, strategically, I've hung out with Ozzy, I've played with Ozzy, I know Ozzy. I don't think it's there, and I don't think he's gained it in the last 10 years.
Well, and I can tell you from my time on 47, there are people who you, in a second, you're like, oh, you're not wired that way. Yeah. Like, I talked to Hatch for 2 minutes before we came on air. I'm like, I can see the wiring in his brain. That's why he was able to do the things he was able to do before anybody had laid out the blueprint of how to do it. Because you're just wired that way. And even if you don't go on Survivor, there are thousands of people like that in planet Earth that do that act that way at work, in their relationships, in their family, whatever it may be, in their hobbies. And some of those people happen to get cast on Survivor. But like, Richard Hatch would be Richard Hatch, whether he played Survivor or not. And Jonny Fairplay would be Jonny Fairplay, whether he played Survivor or not. He might still be John Dalton, but that's a story for a different time. Yeah. And I agree with that on Ozzy. I've also met Ozzy. He's great. But I think that he is one of those people who has the opportunity to prove folks like us wrong.
I think he wants to. I just don't know if he has it.
I think wants to. I think he has the opportunity. I think personally, the challenge will be to what Bobby was talking about, that he's going to play this particular way different. The challenge will be to not being perceived as if he's trying to play differently.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You have to be you. Yeah. And you have to play, and you can't come in there and be so different that people are going to be thinking, where's the Ozzy that I knew? Yeah. It's a very subtle game. And I think what I hear you guys saying is that kind of intense subtlety may be out of his grasp.
Yes. Looking at the last new era member of the Cila Tribe, Emily Flippin, somebody who said she does not want to play again. Somebody who said she would not play again. Absolutely. If she was ever asked, she made it very clear, I am not coming back to play Survivor. I got my fill on season 45 and I am done. And everybody who says that, when that phone rings and when that offer gets slid across the table, all of a sudden, everything that you said becomes nothing but a big pile of smoke and garbage. And sure enough, for Emily Flippin, she followed right in line. When that phone call came, she picked up and she said, yes, I will go play again. So now we have the strategic antisocial mastermind of season 45 back to play for season 50. I think that her arc of growth through 45 was excellent TV. I think she went from abrasive, I think she went from standoffish, as I said, antisocial, to then growing into this person who became more in tune with her emotions and realized the value of those emotions as she continued to play through season 45. She ended up finishing 7th, I believe, on that season, came close to the end, but not quite close enough. Johnny, what do you make of Emily Flippin on season 50? From saying that she doesn't want to play to now being on this cast, how do you think she fits into this cast? What's your take on Emily Flippin on season 50?
I only liked her the first 3 or 4 episodes. I did not like her after that. I did not care. I didn't care to see her journey. I didn't find her good television as a good guy. I thought she was great TV as an asshole. And I thought she was awesome. And then she turned good. I'm like, okay, well, I'm done with this character. And I feel like we got the story. I'm personally done with the story. She said she didn't want to play again. Don't call her. If you don't want to play again, don't call that person. If they put it out there, because I don't need, like, what's the story we're going to, of all the people, this is literally the worst person cast on season 50 for me.
Wow, the worst.
Yeah, no contest.
I think what viewers will get is an opportunity to watch someone figure out whether they understand their own nonverbal communications or not. And I think subtly that'll be interesting to people, because I don't know that Emily quite understands just how important. It's not for me, like Johnny's talking about her journey. I don't care about the person and their journey at all. But I am intrigued by how detached from how her nonverbals impacted others she was, how she shifted, and now whether or not she even understands that how she communicates nonverbally, which is how we all communicate mostly. That's the overwhelming majority of the way we communicate is nonverbal. And people don't, most people and most players even don't account for that well enough. So it'll be interesting to see, to me, what she does with that or not.
That's a very interesting.
Would you put her on 50?
It's another capacity question for me, like Ozzy. I don't know whether she will be able to. Would I have put her on 50? This is a strange answer coming to head, because I know it's what Survivor does, the casting folks do. It would depend on the group that I got and the reasons that I thought she might trigger this or integrate with that. I don't know off the top of my head. No, because I have so many others that for me play so spectacularly well that I would want to see the game level rise. I would want to see a real intense game among people who all really, really get the game of Survivor.
And an interesting point that you brought up there, Rich, was the bit about nonverbal communication. And on Surie's last appearance on US Survivor, CBS Survivor, was with Michelle, who was another young woman on her tribe. And Michelle was talking to Surie, and she was like, why do people think that I'm angry at them? Like, I'm fine, but everyone keeps saying that I'm angry at them and they don't want to work with me. And Surie's like, you know what it is? And I see the same thing they're seeing. You're sitting there with this look on your face, and people don't want to talk to you when that's the way you look. And it may have nothing to do with anybody out here. It may be that you're homesick. It may be that you're a little extra hungry today. You may be thinking about a conversation that you had back at home that you still haven't gotten over yet. But they don't know that. Only you know that. And
it doesn't matter what it's about. It only matters how people perceive you through those nonverbals. That's what determines whether they trust you or not.
Yes.
Your nonverbals are inconsistent with what you're saying, you can't be trusted.
100%. And so I'm curious to see how the relationship between Surie and Emily is going to play out. Surie is somebody who is so socially savvy and is so acutely aware of those nonverbal tics and those nonverbal presentations that people put out to their tribe and really by extension, because it's on TV, to the world. I'm curious to see if Cirie will have a similar relationship with Emily or if it's something that will put them at odds. I don't know, but I think in a vacuum, those two playing together this early in the game, I think is going to be really fun to watch. Bobby, when you look at somebody like Emily, what can she build on? What did she do well in 45 that if you're a fan of Emily's, you're hoping carries over into season 50?
Well, I think for her, it was her awareness. She was able to understand through the help of Caleb of how she was coming across to other people on the tribe and how it was herself putting herself in danger more than her gameplay actually putting herself in danger. Having said that, Johnny, I hope if we get her on 50, the reason we get her on 50 is because how she was of part 1 of Emily on her season on 45, not part 2. Part 2, Emily, I don't think he ever gets cast on 50. I think 100% they brought her back for the pure drama of it all. Now, saying that, how are you not one of the biggest, targets in the game when people know, one, if you look at just the first half of her game, you are crazy, acting wild, just, very much so a loose cannon. And then they know the second part of your game, you can get it together, be very strategic, and know how to move through the game. That's a double whammy. Someone that's going to be off the wall and can still be a social threat and a strategic threat. They got to get out of here quick, because I don't want that person around at all, especially if I'm not working with them. So I think go ahead. Sorry, Rich.
That's the unreliability factor, Bob.
Yes.
If somebody's unreliable, if you can't trust that you understand who they are and how
who they even are.
Yeah, 100%.
Bobby,
I would, and speaking of Caleb, I'd rather have Caleb than Emily.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I wonder if he got a call. I don't know. Rick Devin. So I'm watching Edge of Extinction right now for the first time, and I am loving it. This is an all-time great Survivor season. Edge of Extinction rocks in every way, but that's a story for another time. I haven't finished it yet, and I know how it kind of ends, but I don't know what a lot of the major story beats are, so I would appreciate if we could lay off the spoilers for that. I just saw War Dog get voted off. That was the last episode.
Can I give you the funnest outtake that did not make Edge of Extinction?
Yes, please.
At the very beginning, when Jeff goes, "Hey, the bald guy, what's your name?" He goes, everybody calls me War Dog, and he was like, "Okay, all right, War Dog." And he was like, "Hey, guy with the sweater, what's your name?" He goes, and it's Devins. He goes, "Well, this is awkward. My friends call me War Dog too." Jeff lost his fucking mind. He goes, "No more fucking nicknames. We're not doing this bullshit."
So there are certain players throughout Survivor history that are clearly Jeff's favorites, right? They are Jeff's darlings. And I think most of those people get pretty hated on for that, because I think what Jeff loves about Survivor is not what the masses love about Survivor. Yeah. Rick Devins is one of Jeff's darlings, and I think it is the most deserved person of that title. Rick Devins, he is excellent TV. He is a fun player, even if he's not always making the best move. He is great in confessionals. He has great banter with Jeff. He is so witty and quick on his feet. I mean, he is great television. He's a great Survivor character. I think he's a fun Survivor player. I'm not sure how good of a Survivor player he is, but he's a very fun player. You never know what he's going to do. Whenever he decides to make a move, whether it breaks good for him or not, it always seems to shake up the game in a really interesting way. And I think you need a couple of those people on a season like 50, where you know they're going to be a fun personality, and you know that they're going to make moves that change things. Again, whether it's good for that individual's game or not remains to be seen, but you know that it's going to leave viewers at the end of the episode going, what is going to happen next week because of what Rick Devins decided to do this week. So I'm very excited to see Rick. And these, I don't want to use the term court jester, because I think he brings more to the table than just somebody you can laugh at. I think Rome is like a court jester. I don't know if I would ascribe that to Rick Devins. But when you see these characters, Rich, that are just full of banter and are able to make rather mundane happenings on Survivor entertaining. As somebody who puts so much value on the strategy and so much value on the gameplay, do you have a place in your heart for characters like this, or rather players like this, who bring a level of entertainment, even if it's not always the best gameplay, but it is active gameplay?
I do, and we love entertainment because, that's a human thing. But when you're talking about playing the game and you're talking about Survivor 50, what I think you're talking about here with respect to Rick is similar to what we just discussed before, and that on the verge of how much can I trust that I can rely on who I think Rick's going to be, or is it likely to switch in a minute? Is he going to blow things up because he's going to do this or go in that direction? He's super entertaining. He's a really good guy, and we like that. But I'm not sure about gameplay. Like you said, I think it's going to be right on the edge, which could play to his advantage because he'll be less of a threat than, say, somebody like Suri.
Johnny, a guy like Devins, is he somebody that if you show up for pregame and you see Devins is on the plane, does that excite you or does that worry you?
Peek behind the curtain, Gabe. We were at I was at a charity event, and I'm on the balcony. It's me, Wendell, Ethan, and Devins, and there may have been some devil's lettuce being smoked on said balcony. And Devins looks over and he's like, "This is the greatest fucking day of my life." Because, am I officially a bad guy? And I'm like, "Welcome, my Sith apprentice. You are now part." I wish, metaphorically, I wish Devins' dick was a little bit bigger.
Not
I
literally.
Well,
Is it good? Literally, are you good on that?
Okay. I don't care.
I don't think he cares. Yeah.
I think he is so. I think he's amazing. At the end of the day, we're making a TV show. So I put a Devins on season 50 all day long, every day. One of the first 10 phone calls easily. I love Devins. I just think that if his dick was a little bit bigger, he is in a different conversation of what silly thing is he going to do that might fuck up his game? Where if his dick was a little bit bigger, he ain't doing some silly shit because his dick's just that big. And I think he's missing an inch.
I get what you're saying. I think you're describing what I said without referring to the dick.
Bobby, it was Devins an easy casting? Was Devins an easy casting for you? If you were casting season 50, is Devins on your must-call list?
100%. He should have been, but he was an alternate for 50. Like, how in the hell is Devins, of all people, an alternate? Like, he brings the entertainment factor, the da-da-da-da, like everything about him in his confessionals and what he brings to the game. He is a game player. He could have, I don't want to spoil anything for you watching the season now, but there's so much I want to say about his end game that could have gone very well. And I think, a few twists and turns go a different way, we see Devins winning that game. Having said that, I really, really hope, because I actually just recently rewatched this season, maybe like 6 months ago, and I was shocked at how much I forgot how his beginning game ended and how he was he was working with David Wright, but he was very rah with the entire tribe. And his tribal council, where he goes home, might be one of the most pathetic tribal councils I've ever seen. And I love Wentworth. I love Devins. Hell, I love War Dog. But like, that was very much so kumbaya Survivor. We're all friends here. It sucks. Someone's got to go, but we all love each other. It's okay. That's not what I want to see. I want to see people fighting to the death. And we did see him make a big turnaround once he got back into the game and said, I got a chip on my shoulder now. I hope he carries that chip to 50, especially since he was an alternate.
I agree.
The final slide, Bobby.
All right, final slide.
How apropos.
My dogs are.
There we go.
Somebody you know all too well, Mr. Richard Hatch, somebody that you played with twice on season 1 and on season 8 All-Stars. This is somebody who made good runs in both of those seasons. Rich, just give us the breakdown. If somebody had never seen Survivor before, didn't know who Jenna Lewis was, how would you describe Jenna Lewis as a player?
Well, I think it's a wonderful pick for a lot of reasons, but they're mostly personal. The reason I love that they picked Jenna is because I've watched her grow, and I know that she recognizes what she didn't do well in the original season. I know that she was a fan favorite. They loved watching her in the pink bikini and the rest of it, but playing the game was something most of the participants besides me in the first season just didn't have any sense of how to do. And Jenna took that to heart. Jenna learned that and wanted to play better in All-Stars. She wanted to play harder. In real life, she learned lots of she had been invited to do a Playboy centerfold and turned it down. And that she would have earned $1 million for having done that. And I just tore into her for having turned that down. I was just like, oh my God, you will regret this. And she wished I had been even firmer or told her that ahead of time. And she's learned that, there are things that she can do differently and still be who she is and true to herself and the whole rest of that. And I'm hoping she plays balls to the wall this season. And I think she might. I don't know, again, about capacity, whether or not she is too good a person, but I'm hoping she's hardened enough now that she can really, really turn it on. We'll see.
Is this a good person, Johnny, to have casted to represent the original seasons of Survivor? That first,
well, I mean, there's a guy. There's a guy.
Well, I'm not saying is she the best. I'm not saying is she the only. I'm saying is she a good?
She's great. She's beyond good. Like literally the cover of Time magazine, the voyeur deal was literally one of the most iconic moments in print in the 2000s. She is one of the first people that I met after I did Survivor. I've been in the room with her having sex with Burton, with her having sex with her husband, with her having she is one of your dude friends. She is saying the most crass shit at the fucking table. She is literally stands on her shit at all times. You are not fucking her over whatsoever. I love her. She is literally one of my favorite people ever.
Now she's grown into that. She's an integrated woman now. At first, she wasn't. She was second guessing, questioning herself the whole time, trying to be this, playing that, worrying about what other people thought. I feel like she's past that now.
Oh yeah, no. She got that inch that Devins is looking for.
There you go. There you go.
So my only concern with Jenna is she has not been a part of the Survivor community. She was forever. I mean, like we used to do all the parties, all the charity events, every Tuesday night we were at Saddle Ranch, all the things. But that was 18, 19, 20 years ago. And she does not hang out with these people. I'm not sure if she's watched every season. I'm sure when she got the call for 50, if she had missed a season, she went back and watched, and she knows what she needs to do, but she's just not in the loop. And, whereas Hatch has been somewhat out of the loop, that's Richard Hatch. Yeah. And Jenna has that dick, but do they know she has that dick? That's my only concern.
I don't think they do.
And I don't think they do either. And that's the only thing that worries me. And I like.
I like that they don't know that.
Well, that could be good, but Jenna is a fucking lot. And I can see some people going, "Whoa, like what?" So, but I think this is the perfect like on a tribe of like. Savannah's a lot, Emily's a lot, and Jenna's a lot. I feel she's probably
a more palatable a lot. I think.
No, I agree.
Hopefully. So no, as I said, one of my favorite people. I'm rooting. I am rooting on Jenna. Like I've become friends with Savannah. I'm rooting for Savannah. You know, I've known Ozzy forever. I'm rooting for Ozzy. I think the perfect fairy tale put a bow on Survivor is Cirie winning. But I mean, I think Jenna Lewis winning Survivor 50 is also a pretty special bow. Season 1 season and anyone that not like literally, she's one of the reasons I came with the dead grandma lie. Watching her not get her video from home on Borneo. If you didn't cry, you're a fucking piece of shit.
I didn't
Bobby,
cry.
where do you? Well, there you go.
Case closed.
Where do you fall on Jenna Lewis as a season 50 cast member, Bobby?
I mean, you had to have some kind of representation for season 1. It was a must. Obviously, we would love to have had Rich there, the first winner, to be on the 50th season. Are you kidding me? It writes itself. But having said that, I'm glad there's representation. I'm glad it's Jenna, who everyone is excited to see play again, since we haven't seen her play since All Stars, where she got very far. But also, like, this is someone we've seen an entire growth arc from when she was a young mother playing season 1 of Borneo to, you know, someone with, you know, young children in All Stars to now her kids are college age, post college age. I'm guessing they're around my age at this point. Like it's wild. Like this, she is one of the few that has literally grown from a young woman to a young adult, you know, this far into the game. And now we get to see her maturation here in season 50. I'm very excited for it. All that being said, like people are saying in the comments, she has been coming in hot in all of her interviews, saying she's going to do some crazy things. But I want to see that. I want to see this side of Jenna that we haven't seen in the past. I want to see someone that's going in there knowing I might not ever get a call again. This is my first call in many, many years. I'm playing balls to the wall, and I'm here for that.
And she's gotten calls, by the way, over the years. This is not her first call since All Stars.
And she's declined or just didn't make it to the end?
They went a different direction, blah, blah, you know, the same old shit.
Yeah. And that concludes. We've done it. We've made it to the end. All 3 tribes have now been covered on the Reality After Show. If you missed any of our tribe breakdowns over the past couple weeks, you can head over to the Reality After Show YouTube channel. All the episodes are archived over there. Just go over to the live tab and you can see each of the episodes that we've done. Bobby?
Yeah, I just want to also promote, we have our Traders podcast. So in about 20 minutes, the Traders episode will drop. We will be going live immediately after the East Coast airing of that episode to talk all things Trader with myself, Jonny Fairplay, Ty from Destination X, and special guest. Johnny, you want to break the news?
One of my favorite faithfuls, Rachel Riley, will be joining us on
very fun.
the Raiders podcast. We're pretty excited about that. Oh, Gabe, peek behind the curtain. So the robbed icon shirt.
Yeah.
Also, for all the shows, I will have robbed icon caps. The cool auto faux mesh. And for Baltimore, I will have purple with white.
Oh, let's go. Baltimore Ravens purple. I love it. All right. Good stuff.
I know. I got you covered.
Very fun.
Make sure you join me and Richard at SurvivorTix.com. That's SurvivorTix.com. We're going everywhere. If we're not going there, sorry. We did everywhere we could. I mean, geez, I would love to be at home sometime in June. And so right now that's the plan. We're working it out. But I do have one final question for Hatch, if you guys don't mind. He was not on this tribe. What's your thoughts on Colby on season 50?
So I'm not thinking he's going to do well. And the reason is because I don't think it's like an Ozzy thing for you, maybe, that you know Ozzy that well. I don't. Colby, from my standpoint, has had much opportunity for many different reasons, but there's just this piece that doesn't take him far enough from my perspective. Part of that might be personal and how competent I think I am, and I could not get through to him. And I think that inability to get through to him signals for me a lack of understanding of what's necessary to go as far as I think he would hope he could go to win.
Fair enough.
So we'll see.
Also, guys, just so you know, obviously we're so thankful for having Rich here. Rich, thank you for taking the time out of your night to be here with us, chatting all things Survivor. We wish you were out there, but at least the second blessing is you're here talking about it with us. Much lesser in your shoes, but in our shoes, it's a big deal. And then also, guys, we have a Survivor 50 promo for Reality After Show that will be posted tonight. I have it ready to go, ready to load up. I hope you guys like it. Let us know the feedback on the promo. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
Gabe, anything else?
That's going to do it for us here. Again, a big thank you to Richard Hatch. Be sure to go get your tickets, survivortix.com, for the April watch party we're going to be doing that first week of April on Rich's birthday right here in Baltimore at Jimmy's Seafood. Head over to Bryson Wen if you're in the Baltimore area, Maryland area, DMV, DC, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, anywhere around here. We're going to be doing a huge Survivor watch party right here in Baltimore as well over at Power Plant Live with me and Ozzy hosting it. So be sure to go get your tickets over at BrysonWenPresents.com. Unless any of you guys are going to go ahead.
Come see me and Johnny in Newport, my hometown.
Newport, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Newport, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
They're the same. So, but yeah, we're gonna be. We have so many. As I said, check it out, survivortix.com. Like if we are close to someone somewhere, I promise.
Bobby, get us out of here.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.